Hello, everyone. I'm Lori Piper, and I'm here with Angie and Ann, the Unapologetically Unstoppable Women podcast. And we have a special guest today. Even though we are a woman podcast, we have invited Joe Callahan to join us. And Joe is not only my financial advisor for over 20 years, but he is also a good friend and a generous, amazing man. Joe, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and
Yeah,
what you do?
sure. Thank you, Laura. Appreciate being on. Thank you, Ann. Thank you, Angie. Great to meet you guys. Yeah, I've been working with Lori for over 20 years, and I've got an investment financial planning company I started 39 years ago in Cincinnati. We serve the whole country and other countries, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, I think that for the relevance of this podcast and the relevance of why in the heck am I on this podcast is, growing up, my dad died when I was four. My mom raised four of us. My youngest sister was 9 months old when my father died, by herself, and I got to see firsthand, the trials, the tribulations, the struggles, and that was in the late '60s, early '70s when it was tough to get credit. She paid cash for her house from a death benefit my father left. And I always wondered why she did that. Later in life, I asked her, and that was why. But the one thing she did that stuck out most was she every week, starting when my earliest memory is probably 6 or 7 years old, she'd pack us all into a car and we'd go down to the local soup kitchen and we'd serve dinner. She wanted to make sure we understood as tough as you may think you have it, you don't have as tough as most. And
That's beautiful.
she created a really good foundation for us and an understanding. And so, um, that really was a seed that was planted for me. I think there was a real lack of focus on women and our business, which is investment planning, financial planning, estate planning, tax planning, all of that. And so I wanted to make a difference doing that. And so that's really kind of what our focus has been. Uh,
Yeah, and I met Joe. I was coming back from Australia. I was building a house. I had So similar to like Social Security here in the States, it's called superannuation in Australia, which I earned. And so I had this bulk amount of money and I didn't know how to invest it or what to do. And I saw Joe on TV doing a commercial, and it just really resonated with me because he's on the golf course and he was talking about, saving for whatever should come up and for your retirement and all that. But he said it's not, and Joe, you can correct me on the wording because you say it much better than I do, that it's not about the saving of the money. It's about enjoying what you're doing and living your life. And that so resonated with me because other financial advisors I had talked to, it was all about the money, the money, the money. And but it was just, that gentle Joe that came out, his heart really came out. And that's what resonated with me. And still to this day resonates with me.
that's nice. Yeah, I did 26 1 minute vignettes for Channel 9, and it was all around financial freedom. And the essence was to enjoy the journey. If you're focused on the end, you miss it all. It's like hiking up to the top of a mountain. There's so many cool things to see on the way up and on
No
the way
way.
down. If you don't take the time to look, and enjoy the journey, and truthfully, some people won't get to the mountaintop. And so if you're not practicing that, you're missing it all, right?
Yeah.
Um, I thought of something when I was speaking with you, Lori, yesterday that I thought would be funny, and I forgot to talk about it. Growing up, my mom was extremely frugal. I had two older sisters, one younger sister. Soon after my grandma moved in, so it was five on one, and she practiced the hand-me-down deal, right? And so, when my older sister outgrew her clothes, the next in line got it, and then when she outgrew them, then I got it. And I don't remember if I was 7 or 8 years old. I'm at school. I'm in the restroom, and I'm doing what I always do. I'm pulling my pants to the side and unzipping them and going to the restroom. And this guy's like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm just going to the restroom." And he goes, your pants are not supposed to have a zipper on the side." And it used to be, used to be, women had zippers on the sides. I don't think you guys do that anymore, but
Yeah.
it was. I went home and I told mom, and she immediately got me in the car, and we went and got some real pants.
Well, at least you didn't have to wear dresses.
Right, yeah, that would have been a little tough. But the pants with the zipper on the side, that was my gig.
That's hysterical.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes.
You, you
All
know,
right, so I
and
have a question for you because I know this resonates a lot with women, single women, women that have gone through a divorce, different things. We get it in our heads that, oh, I don't have enough money to talk to a financial advisor. I can't do that yet. I don't. And it's almost like the what came first, the chicken or the egg type thing. But for some reason, we've been told until you have money to invest, you can't even start having the conversations. And I feel like a lot of women miss out because they just believe that, well, I'll never have any money. My divorce set me back. I'm a single mom. I don't even know how to approach it. I'm going to be so embarrassed talking to him and having him understand that I really want to figure it out, but I don't want to have the conversation. So, can you, since our audience is primarily women, can you speak to that and just like help women who may have that thought kind of get past it?
Yeah, and that's such a great question.
Mhm.
So, I'll go back to, growing up. Growing up, I was definitely financially discriminated against, and I felt it. And so when I started my business, I always told myself, I'm not doing that. And so many folks in our business, as they progress in the business and become more successful, they begin to have minimums. Unless you have 250,000, unless you have 1 million, unless you have 5 million, you can't work with us. And so from day one till today, that has not been the way we operate. And I'm very fortunate to have an amazing team of people that subscribe to that same thing. It's like, look, it's no different than doctors. Doctors don't get into being to medicine for the money. They get into medicine because they really feel like they want to help people. And so I got into this business, and everybody on my team got in this business because we really felt like we wanted to help people. So we don't care how much money you have. We don't care if you even have money. We want to work with you, roll up the sleeves, and help you figure out your future. And I hear that all the time. We don't have enough money. We got to clean ourselves up. We got all these things. It's like, no, come as you are. There is no judgment. Don't worry about all that stuff. This is a safe place. We're here to help you. We don't even charge for the financial plans we put together. Just because
Right.
as a consumer, I hate getting nickel and dimed. And I'm sure that resonates with everybody, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
you go to a restaurant, and not only, are you expected to give them a 300% tip, but you're also going to pay for that credit card processing fee now. Like, what's
Yes,
going on,
yes.
man? Just price your food accordingly.
Yes.
So,
And I was sorry, Joe, didn't mean to interrupt. And I can vouch for that because not only is he generous in that respect, but he's also very generous in giving back because Joe, talk about what your theme is for this year.
this is the year of the woman in our firm, and we have a
Oh.
ton of events that we've been doing for our women clients. And it could be
Mhm.
single women, it could be divorced women, it could be married women. And so, a lot of the guys are a little upset because like, we're not getting invited. No, you're not. You are, you're absolutely free to do whatever. Dust the house,
Mhm.
unpack the dishwasher, run the vacuum, do something. But you're not coming. And it's so fun. Lots of different great events. Really, it's been an opportunity to sit with, because I'm there, but it's all women except for me and a couple of the other males that are on our team, and we just have an opportunity to just visit with these people much more than we were able to on our quarterly check-ins, and it's great. We love getting social with our clients a lot, but
Hmm.
this has been great, and so yeah, the year of the woman.
I
So
love
can you
it.
only work with people in your state or can you work with anybody in the country?
I've got folks all over the country. I got folks down in South America. I got folks in Europe. I got folks in Asia. Yeah, but generally they are, at some point there's an origination in Cincinnati,
Okay.
Mhm.
or somebody that was in Cincinnati and moved to the West Coast that told their friend, and their friend, wants what I can give them or we can give them. And so, yeah, but it's all over the country.
Okay. So for the purposes of this podcast, since we have people everywhere, if somebody were to reach out to you, you could help them no matter where they reside.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Great. Another great question, Ann. You're on a
Yeah.
Hey, gold star.
rock star. Yeah,
So,
I mean, the interesting reality is that at some point in life, either today or into the future, every woman listening to this is going to be alone, right? Um, yeah, either through um, death or divorce. Statistically, that's going to be the case. And so it's going to be up to them to make those decisions. And so, one of the things that we really focus on is trying to empower the women, to ask the tough questions. If they're married and the husband's running the money and running the finances and paying the bills, let's get really involved in that. Let's really understand what that looks like. And we've got processes and procedures that can make it fun. And we're like, hey, let's, once a month, let's have a date night where we open a bottle of wine and we talk money, right? And so the more open you are, the better it is. We work with a lot of women that are like in the midst of divorce, and they go from going down the altar saying until death do us part and everything's great until, something breaks down, and all of a sudden there's doubt, there's um, where's all the money? It really is challenging. And so, a lot of times they focus on, splitting the money. And certainly that's important. You got one shot at doing that. And we like to really help with that with things like forensic accounting. If you suspect that husband's hiding money, there's ways that you can find that. But, also the goal isn't simply dividing the assets, it's rebuilding financial confidence. Because the one thing that robs a woman I've seen more than anything is robbing them of financial confidence, as well as other confidences. But we focus on that because we're not therapists. Uh, but that's so important, and that's what we really focus on: is how do we help them rebuild day one, day 31, day 287, that kind of stuff. Uh,
yeah. And just to add to that, I mean, I know a woman who was married for what, 40 years or something like that. And he made the money, she stayed at home. And Joe, like you were saying, she had no knowledge of the finances, none whatsoever. He took care of it 100%. And when he died, there was zero money for her. I shouldn't say zero. There was some from a death benefit or something like that. But after paying all of the bills that were still outstanding, she had very little to go on. And she had no skills for writing checks or managing her money or anything like that. So, Joe, I love that you're encouraging women, inspiring women to ask questions. and get answers. And if you're not getting answers, to me, that's a red flag.
Hmm.
If they're saying don't worry about it, that's a red flag.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, big time. I was talking to a female client the other day, and discovered that her husband, this is a second marriage for her, her husband has a closet that's locked, and he has the key, and
Mm.
she yeah, obviously the mind goes to bad places sometimes, but she went from anything from dead bodies in there to towards the cash, to who knows, but it's secrets, right? And those things, they create divisiveness. And
Mhm.
so, my goal is going to be to visit with him about the closet. And it's not going to be a fun conversation, but I'm going to have that conversation because it needs to be tackled. And she feels that she doesn't have the courage to do that. And so those are the things I deal with in my practice all the time.
Mm.
And I kind of come in unapologetically because there's a goal in mind, right? And you guys remember the old term, Jimmy cracked corn, and I don't
Yeah.
care. I don't care if
Yeah.
I'm ruffling feathers. That's okay. I mean, you
Sing it
know,
for us, Joe.
exactly. I think it's important to, in my, from where I am, is to just stay uncomfortable, stay on the edge because people need it.
Yeah.
And go to bat for them. Don't just be the guy collecting the fees for managing their money. Anybody can do that. It's be willing to do the hard things.
Uh,
So you bring up another good point about second marriages and probably even first marriages, but from women I've talked to in their second marriage, the husband is leaving whatever they have to his children that they didn't have together. There is no expectation that she's going to get left any benefit from him because he's going to take care of his kids. Do you run across that much?
A lot, a lot. And there's various ways that first of all, we address it. And then we try to tackle it because it's a slippery slope. Everyone has their respective children from their first marriage, but they've also committed to a partner for the rest of their life, right? And when you commit to a partner for the rest of your life, you commit to their financial well-being, because none of us know the hour of the day that will be taken, and so we account for that, and so we do a lot of planning and calculating around what if you were hit by the bus, John, tomorrow. This is what your Wilma's going to need from you. Um, for the rest of her life. And so we need to apportion some assets that will care for her into a trust that will give her the income she needs, with the remainder benefit going to your children at the end of her life. And then the rest of the assets you can pass on to your kids. We can also do things like second to die life insurance, which gives the spouse the immediate benefit that he or she needs, in the event of a death, and the kids don't feel like they've been shunned, and those assets go right to them. And that's in a perfect world. That's a great solution. But it's life insurance. You got to be medically approved, and it just depends. But we've got folks that come in prior to the second marriage to work through that. We got folks that come in 10 years into that second marriage. And I got folks that have lived together for 25 years and they're not married. And one of the spouses makes a lot of money and the other one doesn't make that much money. And there's no plan around taking care of that. I mean, and in most states, that's considered your spouse. Um, I forget the term they use for that, but
Common law? Common
Yeah.
law?
Common
common law,
law.
right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but they're like, yeah, well, that's just the way it is. I'm like, man, we got to talk more about that. That's wrong. That's wrong. You know, open your heart up a little more. So, There's prenups, there's all kinds of things like that, and we deal with that all the time. For me personally, when I got married to Michelle, she said, "I want a prenup," not because she had any money, because she felt like I did, and I said, "No, we're not, not at all.
Oh,
That's not the way I operate. This is going to be forever." I thought my first marriage was forever. It lasted 4 years. Um,
It might have felt like forever. Who knows?
yeah, it felt like it was a long time, but we produced a wonderful boy, Patrick, who's awesome, just produced my first grandchild.
oh,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
Oh, Hayden. They moved right before they had their boy. They moved from New York to Columbus, so we get to see him a lot now.
Ooh,
Ah,
yes.
excellent. Yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great, and he's awesome.
Well,
Um,
a quick question that I have, because I talk with women of all ages, and even the younger women, they they're like, "Oh, I'm too young for that." So, what would you say to the women out there who think they're not of a certain age that,
yeah, that's a great question. I tell you, the power of compound interest, right? I'm sure you guys
Mm.
heard those stories. Um, and so I'll give you an example. I have a client whose daughter graduated from college, and I encouraged them to have her call me, and she did. And I said, "Here's the deal.
Mhm.
You're going to start saving. We're going to invest that money, and your first goal is to accumulate $25,000." And that was 13 years ago. She now has about $1.6 million in her investment account.
Wow.
And I just talked to her last month, and she reminded me of that story. So we try to teach people as early as we can. We've got a lot of second and third generation, and we love visiting with second and third generation clients or younger clients, younger prospects, younger people, and teaching them about money and how money works, and helping them to understand how to buy into paying themselves.
Mhm.
If you find a way to do what you need to do, you're always going to find a way to do what you want to do. If you make a buck, but 10 cents of that dollar goes into your future, you're going to be able to figure out how to do what you want to do with that other 90 cents.
Yeah.
You are. And so, unfortunately, along along the way, um, the last 50 years, people have, as credit cards have become prolific. It's not, because I was raised on the cash system. And so if you didn't have it, you didn't get it.
yep.
Now it's go get it and figure it out. Pay later. It's quite unbelievable. I had a guy come in several years ago, an attorney, made a lot of money, um, and he most of it was partner income. And partner income is income that you have to set money aside to pay the taxes for, because the firm's not doing that for you. And he came in, and he had been a client a while, and he was reluctant to see me, and I'm like, something's going on. What's up? Well, it turned out he owed the IRS over $1 million.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
He
ouch.
just one day decided, I'm going to spend it and we'll figure it out. And so we had to get a specialized attorney to go in and negotiate with the IRS to freeze the interest and to pay all that stuff off.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy.
Yes, that is crazy.
Crazy. But I mean, that's it.
Mm.
To really, Angie, answer your question is, you're never too young.
Mhm.
And all it takes is someone willing to give you some time, to give you some basic education, to help build your confidence to get started. And that's what we love. We love doing that. I love doing that. It's like I said, why are you doing what you do? Am I doing what I do to make all the money I could? The first way not to make all the money is to try to make all the money.
Yeah.
I like that.
So much more satisfaction to, to be in a giving posture, in a let me help you posture. It's way more fun. And people they're not customers, they're relationships and clients, and those span long periods of time as a result. Nobody nobody loves anything more than for people to be nice to their children, or to do something for their children, or to help their children. I mean, because their children are the prize, right? I discovered that when I started coaching kids at about 4 or 5 years old. It was, that's amazing. A lot of rose-colored glasses. Why isn't Jimmy playing? Because Jimmy sucks.
Tell us how you really feel, Joe.
I like it.
Don't hold back.
No participation trophies.
That's
Ah,
right.
So
Earn
a
it.
lot of our listeners on this podcast are 40s, 50s, 60s. So, there's probably going to be a lot of women that listen to this that are like, yeah, it's just too late. I've just missed it. What's one, two, three things you can offer as like, do this right now? Something quick, easy, other than call you. What's something they could do right now to hopefully make them pick up the phone and call you at some point?
yeah. Very first is to understand their spending habits. What do you need for your life to spend, and what are you spending? Get really in touch with your spending habits right now, because what's going to happen is, when you do that and you write everything down in reality, you're going to understand there's a lot of waste going on. There's a lot of things that are immediate gratification that aren't really satisfying. They're fleeting, and that money can be reappropriated for stability and for confidence in your future. That's number one. Number two, lighten up, relax, right? We all only have a certain amount of time on this planet. Enjoy it. And smell the roses. Don't get so intense about things. Uh, and then the third thing is, if you work for a company, really understand all the benefits that they avail to you, because we work with people all the time. We're like, hey, give us the company handbook. Let us take a look at what is available versus what you're taking advantage of. There's a lot of things that are out there that that could benefit you. You're not taking advantage of. So those are three. Yeah.
You know my sister Marla, and years ago, like before I knew you, I was just getting out of college, and she was saying, save until it hurts for a while, because it doesn't really hurt, right? You still are able to pay for your apartment or whatever, but it's those extra things, just like you were saying, Joe, those extra things that you don't really need, but they
Mhm.
make you feel good in the moment, like that, oh, that dress I must have that you wear once and never wear again. That those are the kind of things that just think twice, and invest as much as your company will allow you in those programs. Because Joe, like you said, it makes a huge, huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Huge difference. And so there's a lot of women that we visit with in their 40s, 50s, and 60s that feel like, I'm never going to be able to retire, and I'm going to have to work the rest of my life. And so, that's false. That's a false narrative. And so, I don't care how little you feel like you may have. We can work with that, and government benefits like Social Security, et cetera, to kind of ease into a relaxed version of working. You know, my oldest son was married a year ago. Her mom is 65. She's worked in Cleveland for a Jewish temple for about 25 years, and then she was suddenly let go. And they're like, "Oh my, this is in real time, like in the last couple months." And they're like, "Joe, we don't know what to do." I'm like, "Relax. Let me visit with her. Let's see what she's got. Let's see what's going on." I was able to put a plan together for her, because she's like, "I got to get with my sisters. We all got to now chip in on for her for her life." I'm like, "No, relax." Um, And so I put a plan together for her that just kind of blew her away. She had no idea. The first thing we had to do was to understand, where do you spend your money? Well, I
Mm.
go to the casino and okay, we're going to stop doing that, right? Um, but yeah, it's kind of interesting. Just to segue a little bit, I'm sure some of your listeners are women who own businesses, right? And I was telling you yesterday, Lori, 40% of all the businesses in the US employ 85% of all the people that are employed in the country, by the way, small businesses. 40% of those are women owned, which is awesome, right? There's a real difference between a man owned business and a woman owned business. And the
Yes.
major difference is women are caring, they bring empathy. And so women frequently invest in everyone that works for them before they invest in themselves.
Mm.
And we find that all the time. Their main asset is their business. They're very they've neglected their own retirement needs, and so there's a lot of ways that we can circumvent that, and we work with a lot of women business owners around that because it's challenging. They're just they I wish more men were more like that, right? But that's a uniqueness of women-owned businesses is they really want to care for everyone because they have that mother instinct and that caring instinct. And you guys were built with way more empathy than we are, which I hate because I really want to have more empathy. I'm just my wife tells me all the time, you need more empathy, Joe. Um,
And you're one of the most empathetic men that I know, too.
yeah, I know. That speaks volumes, right? Another subject I think is really important to talk about is caregiving. There's if women that are listening are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, they either have had to care for their parents, they are caring for their parents, or they will have to care for their parents.
Mhm.
And I was talking to somebody the other day. They are caring for their grandkids and their parents at the same time. So that's kind of a unique part of the sandwich generation, right?
Yes.
Um, and as a result, they drink a lot of wine. I don't blame them.
No shade, no shade being thrown.
No shame, no
No,
shame.
shit, no. So generally, who is that caregiver? Um, 80% of the time, it's the oldest female sibling um, who is closest in proximity. And when they embark on that journey over their lifetime, statistically, they lose over $800,000 in wages, benefits, and retirement accumulation for
Wow.
themselves.
Wow.
And because of the stress, this is the more shocking stat. They lose over 10 years of their own life. Stress is the leading cause of death.
Yes.
And, when you're juggling family, you're juggling marriage, you're juggling your own career, you're juggling friendship circles, your own health, and then your parents. It's super, super challenging, right? And it's a lot of stress. So, we started about 25 years ago a program called the Parent Care Solution.
Mm.
And we've unpacked that all the time. And the bottom line is, let's talk to the parents who right now, if we could freeze this time and place, right now, all of our parents, if they're still alive, are part of the silent generation, right? Society's done a really good job of categorizing silent generation, baby boomers, X, Y, millennials, all that. So the silent generation is pretty aptly named because they don't want to talk about anything that has to do with money.
Right.
They're silent,
Yep.
and so invariably they're adult children who are clients of ours who I always ask that, tell me about your parents. And they're like, what do you want to know about our parents? Well, I want to make sure that their lack of planning isn't robbing you guys of your retirement. That
Mm.
first and foremost. And so let's talk about that, and ultimately, let's get them in. And invariably, what they say is, good luck. They're not going to talk to you. Within 30 minutes, they disclose everything to me because I'm not their child. There's a big difference. They view me as a professional. The silent generation respects that, and they
Mhm.
divulge everything. We put together a plan. Let's talk about your resources. Let's talk about your wishes. Let's talk about, how this is all going to play out, because it's going to play out. You're not going to just both jump off a platform into a train and die at the same time. That's not going to happen, right? It's going to be it's going to be quick, and God bless you if it is, because that's the way I want to go. But most, it's not going to be quick. It's going to be, a slow, baton death march, and that's that's tough. And a lot of people make a decision. A lot of the parents make a decision. I want to stay independent and stay in my home. And,
Mm,
and I
Yes.
let them know, if you make that decision, what you're telling your children is you want them to become your burden, or their burden. You want to become their burden. Um, so let's flip the script and talk about, it's selfish to do that, right? I mean, these people have lives, and so I have those tough conversations. Everybody wants independence and dignity, and there's a way to do that. You can plan for that, or you can, just
Mhm.
decide that's what's going to happen. And if that's your decision, it's tough. It's really tough.
I love your approach because you've
me
definitely come
Yes.
too.
across as unapologetics. Like, look, here's the problem. Be a solution. Don't be the problem.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
Exactly.
unfortunately, in this day and age, when everybody wants to be, they tiptoe to the tubes and want to be politically correct. The thing is still the thing. Let's talk about the thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love
Let's,
that.
let's
Me
be big
too.
Yeah.
boys and girls and talk about this stuff. And if we can get it all on the table, we can create solutions around it. But if we can't do that, because if it's too sensitive, if we're still pissed off because we didn't get the little red wagon growing up, and I mean, and I get that. I mean, I literally get that. We'll have family meetings, and a sibling will say, well, yeah, mom didn't like me like she liked you, because and you got the red wagon and I didn't. And I'm like, wow, that there's a reason they coined that phrase. And so we got to get over that. And so, yeah, part of my work is psychologist, therapist, and but don't lay on my couch,
Mediator.
because this is going to be full contact. And so why am I part of the equation? Because I want to provide resolution. I want to provide vision, resolution, confidence and peace. And I think very specifically, and I've gotten this feedback many times with my female clients who do not have a partner. They love it because they need somebody that that is their sounding board, that will champion things for them, that will be their advocate, and we sign up for that. And there's no additional charge for that. It's important.
And I can totally, totally vouch for that. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate you. Ladies, have any other questions for
No, I
Joe?
just want to say thank you so much.
Thank
Like
you.
everything you've said, it's actually like hit my little heart. I'm like, okay, I need to talk to Joe. So yeah, anybody that is sitting in a precarious situation or anything right now, I love everything I've heard. So thank you, Joe.
Thank
Yes.
you, Ann. I appreciate that. Thank you, Angie.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank
Lori. It's been a
you.
pleasure to be here today.
Thank you, Joe, so much. And we'll see y'all next week or next week.
Yes.
Reach out to Joe, and I'm sure he'd love to hear from you and answer your questions. And even if it's just to say, thank you, Joe, you saved my life.
Yes. And we're going to make it super, super easy right in the show notes. We're going to have all of his contact information. So be sure to check that out and definitely have that conversation with Joe. It's not too late and it's not too early. So definitely take advantage and just have a conversation. And your future self will thank you, as they say.
Exactly.
You guys have a great weekend. Thank you again.
You too. Thanks again.
Okay.
Bye.